Okay, so you guys get a quickie review of this toy before I actually start to customize it. So, this is Megaman. You may recognize him as the base toy that I used to make Megaman last year. So this was what the toy looked like before modding. I had found out that this is actually a Megaman made by Toy Biz, and it was for the Marvel vs. Capcom toy line. So, I still don't know when exactly it was made. See if there's any copyright information on his feet. 1999. Okay, so this is a 1999 toy. And, well, I guess, the toy doesn't really look all that great. Especially the legs. I hate the way the legs in this thing were designed. He just looks so weird, and he looks like he's knock-kneed, and he's been riding a horse too long. He has to keep his thighs spread open. I don't know, it just looks weird. Not to mention the fact that his left leg is significantly longer than his right leg just to accommodate that stance. Remember when I customized this thing, I had to completely alter the leg's morphology to make them symmetrical? Okay, the fact that this is a 17-year-old toy might earn it a little bit of leeway, but I don't know what they used to paint on that chrome or vac metallizing, because it just totally faded and rubbed away. That was not very well applied, however they did it. I don't know what happened to this toy, but this really shouldn't happen. The reason you make toys shiny like this is for collector appeal. Or maybe you don't do that for collector appeal. Maybe you do that just to have something shiny for kids to grab at. But still, that's not good. I still have the legs from the other Mega Man figure, which were actually painted blue. But even then, the metallic paints that they used didn't stick very well and also started to peel off. So yeah. Articulation for 1999 is actually pretty decent. There's a swivel head. He has universal shoulders, an elbow swivel. It's long since been lost, but there actually is a spring inside the Mega Buster cannon, so for a firing missile gimmick. He has a waist joint, swivel hips that go forward, not so much backwards, and a 90-degree, well, beyond 90-degree knee, which would be good, except for the fact that the way the legs are attached, the knees overlap each other, so he can't really do stuff like sit or anything like that. And he does have a little action gimmick besides that firing missile. His legs extend. I don't know why they extend. Is this a power that he had in Marvel vs. Capcom? I have no idea. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. Mega Man isn't known for doing this in his own games, and unless he did this a lot in the Marvel vs. Capcom game, I really can't think of a reason to justify incorporating it into the toy, especially because it makes his legs look even more ridiculous. And I always feel like I'm gonna break them when I push them back in. Yeah, this toy is not good. And you may have noticed something in his construction. This could have... I don't know who had this for 17 years, but these joints are very floppy, especially in the legs, which is where it's kind of important for them to not be. So, yeah, getting the figure posed is always kind of awkward, because just like when I position his head, just the act of pulling my finger away, I might accidentally brush it and make him look in a different direction. Or the weight of his arms might just cause his waist to spin around and his hips will collapse. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find a way to tighten up all those joints. But then there's just one egregious thing. One thing that absolutely cannot be chalked up to the age of the toy. And that is a complete and utter fault in the construction. Okay, so take a look at his arm. Alright? That's as far down as it goes. You see how it's kind of sticking out a bit? But look what happens when I flip it over the other way. Look at that. It goes much lower to his side. It looks better. Except now his elbow bends backwards. That's not good. So, let me zoom in and explain what that is. Let's go in. There we go. Alright. Okay, you see this round thing here? That's the divot for the armpit. All arms are supposed to have this when you make a toy with a universal shoulder joint. See, you can see on the other side. There's a divot for the armpit to allow the arm to rest a little bit flatter against the body. In this case, they put it upside down. This is essentially a right arm put into the left socket. But the thing is, you can't just flip it over because the elbow joint doesn't have enough clearance to go back the other way. And besides, this is supposed to be on the back side. So, and the way this is constructed, you can't just dismantle this and put it back on the other way. It's permanently stuck like this. It is a severe construction flaw in the figure. And that was a mistake that Toy Biz made when they ran the figure off the manufacturing line. Almost every other detail of this figure I could chalk up to its age, like the stupid chrome paint, the loose joints, even the stance that he's in, because back in 1999 a lot of action figures came in this pre-assumed stance, which really hampered putting them into your own poses. But I cannot forgive that shoulder. That's just not right. However, this is really the only Mega Man figure that I'm aware of in this scale, and I have been tasked with the job of revitalizing this figure as something that a modern collector might want to stand in his video game action figure collection. So we are going to do that. Alright, so let's get to this. We'll keep it brief. This is what the toy originally looked like with its really bad paint and its peeling chrome. And, well, it fell onto me to repaint him, haha. So I used teal for his little jumpsuit thing, along with the decorations on his helmet, and you know, blue on all of his armor bits. I even repainted the face with some sand. That's the name of the color, Sand by Americana. It's a pretty good skin tone. Although I left the eyes and the mouth intact. Figured, hey, those still look fine after all these years. Why mess with something that's still intact, huh? As you saw down the barrel of his gun, the spring is still intact. So if Vance still has the missile for this thing or whatever, he can, you know, put it in there and still shoot, assuming the mechanism itself works. Alright, so with that done, let's go to live video so I can show the physical repairs. And here is Mega Man, you know, repainted. He looks a lot more like Mega Man now, with the proper color scheme. Of course, you saw that in the photos. What this video is about is to show the physical improvements to the figure. As you can see, I can pick the figure up, and his waist doesn't spin around. I didn't really do anything to the hips except paint them so they don't flop, but you know, those boots are so heavy, you know. But he can stand now without the weight of his head and arms causing him to flop over. And yeah, I can turn his head and his body doesn't spin, and he can turn his waist. And again, the body does not spin. So, there we go. To fix the joints, it was a pretty simple affair. It's a trick that all toy customizers should be familiar with. You simply take a drop of crazy glue, or you know, off-brand super glue also works. You dab just a little bit into the joint, and then you just physically manually work it until the glue hardens. If you don't work it, the glue will seal the joint and it won't be able to move. So you got to keep it moving until the glue hardens, because then that'll thicken the joints. Because when crazy glue hardens, it becomes new plastic, and you know what? Once the glue hardens, it's thicker plastic, and there's more friction to keep the joint together. This doesn't work on all plastics, of course, because crazy glue can actually melt certain kinds of plastics. So whatever Toy Biz used to make this Mega Man was compatible, and yeah. Now it is actually an action figure that you can put next to other video game figures and, you know, display. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that look cool? That works, right? that totally works. Alright, this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.